Hi guys, James at Goddard Radio Moscow Beer and Meta Reviews again for you today with another beer review. We're going to continue on with my kind of short series of New Zealand craft beers. This time we are going to stick to Auckland and we're going to have a taste of something from the Liberty Brewing Company, one of the best regarded craft beer companies in Auckland, or in New Zealand I should say, and these guys are meant to do some really nice beer, so quite interested to try this one. So we're going to have a taste of the Yakima Scarlet today, and if you've watched my channel before you'll know that red ales are one of my favourite styles of beer, and if they're done properly they're absolutely beautiful, so I'm looking forward to reviewing this one for you today. As always, I'll take you through a very kind of short history of the brewery. It'll only be 1 or 2 minutes. If you want to get straight to the tasting, just fast forward into that bit of the video. The brewery website's in the video description for you below, along with a link to my other reviews that I'll hopefully do from these guys in the very near future. So, Liberty Brewing, as it is known today, was established by Joe and Christina Wood, and they are now based in the Riverhead Highway district of Auckland. Now, Joe had been quite an avid home brewer within Auckland, but then he was forced to move to New Plymouth for work, and in both of these cities he found himself very disappointed by the selection of beer that he had. But while he was in New Plymouth, he actually discovered Liberty Brewing, which at that time was a home brewing website, and he soon became their largest customer. But later the owners Stu McKinley and Brendan Mackenzie actually offered him the business, and he accepted and bought the business. So while running this website, he decided to differentiate the company from the other sort of brewing supply companies by actually using the ingredients that they stocked to brew his own beer. And their friends at Hashigo Zaki Bar in Wellington actually agreed to put their Summit beer on tap, and demand very quickly outgrew supply, and this caused them to expand kind of quite rapidly. So Beer NZ actually ended up sending their beer all over the country, and demand soon grew in Auckland and down in Christchurch. So very quickly Liberty Brewing's beer was in demand all over New Zealand, and now as a result they actually brew their beer at the Tuatara brewery to match their demand, and they have a page on their website that actually says thanks to all of the people who have helped establish the brewery as it is today. So they've got a very good relationship with Hallertau Brewery, who I will review for you a bit later, Tuatara, which is another one we're going to visit in the next few days, and just have a look at it. A lot of people have helped this brewery get off the ground, and they are regarded very highly in sort of Kiwi craft beer circles. So that's your kind of little bit of history about the Liberty Brewing Company. To tell you the other beers that these guys do, so you have the Yakima Monster, Yakima Scarlet, which is this guy here, Alpha Dog, Citra, which is meant to be an absolute beast of a beer. You have Darkest Days and Sauvignon Bomb, and you also have Halo Pills and Oh Brother Ale, and those two I believe are exclusive to 6-packs, but don't quote me on that one. But let's get on to the actual tasting of this beer. I'll just bring up the camera, let you have a little quick look at the artwork on this one. So as you can see, I'm not sure, I apologise for the kind of light reflection, this is a kind of shiny label there. You can see the hop cone with the kind of dagger going through it, and it says Yakima Scarlet on it there. And it's very nicely presented. It says on the side, Liberty Brewing Company, my original records for this beer date back to a batch of homebrew in June 2007. It was a beer called IPA Massacre. It was brewed 3 times under this moniker with minor tweaks along the way. The most significant tweak I made to the recipe was changing to using hops grown in Washington, USA. Now accordingly, in January 2011 the name was changed to Yakima Scarlet, obviously the Yakima Valley there, which is very famous for their hops. There were no less than 7 iterations of this beer brewed before releasing what you hold in your hands right now. Now, I still don't know what style of beer it is, but I can tell you that it's hoppy and it's red. So, as they say, they call it a hoppy red ale. And it's meant to be really nice. So, just to tell you, I took a note of the hops and stuff that were in this beer. I believe it told you on the website. So, it says it has a malt base of Munich Caramel Crystal and Special B, and it also uses Warrior, Centennial, Cascade and Columbus hops, and it's 6.9% red ale. The bottle cap on this one, incidentally, is just a plain one. So without further ado, let's actually get on and get to the tasting of this guy. I'm really looking forward to this one. That didn't work quite well. There you are. So as you can see, nice little bit of smoke on the opening, and we'll get this guy out and get it into the glass. You can see it's pouring that nice kind of slightly mahogany colour actually. It's pouring a really nice kind of rich amber colour. We'll just let it settle before we put all of it in. Just put it up to here just now. So as you can see, it's poured a really nice kind of reddish coppery amber colour. I'll just bring the camera up and make sure you can see this colour. If I hold it back into the light here, you can sort of see the coppery reddish amber. If I put my fingers behind it, bring it over here, you can see it is actually clear, so it's got a really nice it's got a definite red colour about it, this one. You can see there's a sort of 3-finger, slightly creamy coloured head on this guy. There is a good bit of little bubbles kind of just going up towards the bottom of the head there. A lot of little bubbles rather than big bubbles, so it should be quite a nicely kind of carbonated one. But the colour of this beer is beautiful. I've never seen quite such a kind of rich reddy amber, this one. There's a little bit of sediment particle just floating around in the bottom as well, but looks like a really, really nice beer. So in terms of the aroma with this guy, very fruity and hoppy, as you would expect. Just bring the light up and maybe you can see the colour of this guy a little bit better. But yeah, there's a lot of fruitiness in there. You're picking up a nice grapefruit. It's not too pungent a grapefruit, so it's just a nice kind of sort of candy sweetness, if you like, but the grapefruit is really nicely mixing in with the aroma here. I think there's a little bit of orange in there as well. You can just pick up that more kind of citrusy element to it. And there is perhaps just a nice little mild resin. The fruit and the resin in this one, the sort of hoppy characteristics really seem to go well together. And it's just a really nice blend, this one. You'll notice that there's nothing that sticks out too nicely, or sort of too prominently I should say, but it's just this really nice blend of flavour. But you can pick up a lot of caramel in the bottom of this guy, so it should hopefully be a really nice fruity yet caramelly red ale, this one. I really enjoy a red ale that has a lot of caramel in it. But there's a little bit of nut in there as well, I would say. Definitely a little bit of a kind of nutty tinge to this beer. So let's just chuck the last little bit of this in and then we'll give it a taste, get the sediment all out of that. But yeah, it looks like a really, really nice beer. So without further ado, this guy is 6.9% red ale from Liberty Brewing Company in Auckland in New Zealand. Cheers. Now that is a really, really nicely done beer. You get a nice hop attack on that, and then it just moves really nicely into the sort of caramel malt, and then you just get this nice juicy oily feel at the front of your tongue there. That's exactly what I like about that's exactly what I want from a red ale. Really, really nice. Yeah, so you're getting a really the pine resin is a lot more prominent in this guy than it lets off in the aroma. The pine resin just goes right around the edge of the tongue there, but the sort of grapefruity flavours are nice and blended in with that, but the pine resin does have just a little bit of a punch to that. The oranges and the grapefruit are kind of blending together, but the grapefruit's a little bit more prominent, but the pine resin is the sort of the most prominent kind of hoppy characteristic of this beer, and that just goes right around the edge of the tongue, and you get this nice dry resiny character that resonates throughout the beer. But in the middle of the tongue, you'll feel that the hops come in and the nice fruity juiciness, then it subsides, and you're just getting that really nice kind of how do you describe it, like a kind of oily caramel feel, a little bit of a roasted caramel feel just right in the middle of the tongue as you go right up the sort of fold in your tongue. Just some really, really nice kind of dark and roasted caramel notes kind of coming through this beer here. This is a really beautiful blend of flavours, I'll have to say that. As I said, I love a red ale when it's done properly, and this guy is beautiful. It really is. Yeah, you've got the nice, as I said, you've got a nice blend of grapefruit of grapefruit and orange flavour in there. Just kind of a slightly over, just mixing in with a really nice kind of pungenty, piney resin aroma or flavour that goes around the edge of the tongue. Some nice caramel malts, and it's got a really nice dry character to it that makes that resiny character just kind of stay throughout the flavour of the beer. That's what you're getting into the aftertaste, and it's beautiful. I'd be tempted to say with this beer as well that there is a kind of characteristic of a little bit of aromatic and floral character in it. It just has a teeny little bit of spice that goes together well with that kind of piney resin. It's a really big flavourful beer, and as the brewer said, he doesn't really know exactly what kind of style of beer it is, but I would say it's a definite red ale. It has just that really nice blend between the nice caramel malt base and the sort of fruitier reddish hops. It's really well done, this beer. I would say, in terms of the mouthfeel, it's definitely mid-bodied, maybe even pushing the full-bodied thing just because of the sort of alcohol warmth that you get this. You do feel it just having a little bit of warmth, and that's what you would expect at a 6.9% ABV. But it's really nicely done. It's got a slightly oily mouthfeel, and then it has got a nice kind of dry and bitter finish there. And as I said, that helps bring out the really kind of sort of grapefruity and pine resin flavours, and just a little bit of that aromatic character. But overall, I would say this is a really beautiful blend of flavours. They're not quite sure this one, but Rate Beer says that it is a red ale, and I have to admit I would agree with that. It's a really nice, it's almost a sort of blend between a red ale and a sort of IPA, it might even be an imperial red ale is probably a good way to describe it, but it's beautifully done. It's got a lot of flavour in it, and if you do like a sort of imperial red ale, you know, this is probably one of the better ones that I've reviewed on the channel. And one of the other good ones I've tried when in New Zealand was there's an 8-wired one, which hopefully will kind of come overseas now. But this is a beautiful beer, and if you do get the chance, from what I'm told, all of the beers from Liberty Brewing Company are excellent, so be sure to check them out. So anyway, I hope you've enjoyed my review of this one and I haven't been rambling too much for you. As always, please let me know in the comments section your own thoughts on this beer. Always interesting to hear them. And please like, subscribe, share, all the usual YouTube stuff. Liberty Brewing Company from Auckland in New Zealand. I'm told very, very good. This beer is beautiful, so go and try it. I hope you've enjoyed this review, and I will catch you soon with the next in my series of Kiwi reviews. Cheers.